Hello, I'm Ali Langdon. Welcome to this special edition of A Current Affair. They haven't seen the faces of their loved ones in more than 2 years, but tonight, 20 Israeli hostages are finally returning from captivity. 7 of those men right now on Israeli soil, each with a family desperate to have them home. And this is how that hostage handover began. 7 of those men inside Red Cross vehicles, slowly moving through the ruins of Gaza City. In Tel Aviv, the moment thousands of Israelis learn the exchange has started. Hostages Square, once a place where families and supporters gathered in despair and desperation, now a site of celebration. In return, 1,966 Palestinian prisoners are preparing to return to their families in Gaza. It is a very different Gaza to the homeland they once knew, reeling from the toll of 2 years of war. Aid trucks moving in, the frantic rush for supplies, and there are now calls for an international envoy to control the handing out of food and medical supplies. While they wait for their imminent release, the second group of hostages hear the best sound. That is the voices of their loved ones still in captivity. And the man many Israelis are crediting for this historic moment, US President Donald Trump touching down in Tel Aviv. Joining me on the desk tonight is former Australian Ambassador to the US, Arthur Sinodinos. So lovely to have you on the desk.
Good to see you.
Just as we were going to air too, we've got word coming through that all of those first 7 hostages released are right now being reunited with their families.
No, it's a great day. And I have to say that President Trump, whatever else you think of his other politics, he's delivered on this one. And for him, this is the most important part, is getting the people back. People who are alive back, as many as possible. Some, unfortunately, are dead. But he was the one who was able to muscle both the Arabs and the Israelis into this. And so I think that's different to the other peace plans we've seen in the recent past. There hasn't been enough pressure on both sides to get to this point.
We're just seeing now as we speak, we'll take these pictures because the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is making his way into the Israeli Parliament alongside his wife Sarah there. And obviously that is where we will see President Donald Trump speak to members of Parliament shortly. But for him, first up, we're being told, is he wants to meet with those hostages and speak directly with them. This
is pure Donald Trump, because they are the people he's been fighting for. So this is an opportunity. It may take a little bit of time. He'll spend time with them. And there are a lot of people in Israel who are grateful to President Trump because they believe without him the hostages would not have been released. There have been debates on both sides about the motivations of both Netanyahu as the Prime Minister of Israel and his Arab adversaries about what they wanted to get out of all of this. The hostages have sometimes seemed as pawns in this process, but the President has been very clear the hostages have to come home, and he's delivered on that. This is the end of the beginning. This is in some ways the easy part, but also the most emotional part. But being emotional, maybe it creates a momentum for people to say, we've had enough, we've got to sort this out for the peace in the region, for Israelis, for Palestinians going forward. Everyone has to have some assurance or security of peace within their own borders.
And I think that is it. Like, it just explained to me just how big this moment was, because seeing those celebrations at Hostages Square, which has been a place of such despair for 2 years now, and to then seeing those aid trucks finally rolling into Gaza and knowing that those desperately needed supplies of fresh water, food, medical supplies are finally reaching those in desperate need. I watched it today and...
you got a bit emotional?
Yeah, it was really... It was overwhelming.
I think a lot of people got emotional because you've seen before images of dead hostages being passed across and all the rest of it, but now he finally got living hostages out of there. They have a new future. Israel feels like it's got a new future. There's more hope. And for the Palestinians, the idea that now there can be... There was some aid while the war was going on, but now that they can increase the spigots of aid and they have a hope that they can actually rebuild their own homeland. And the fact that President Trump has talked about they're not going to be kicked out and it's not going to become a Riviera. He's talked about in more realistic terms now about how do we rebuild a Gaza that Gazans can live in and don't have to resort to extreme bodies like Hamas to protect them.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely retreated from the Riviera line, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
And look, this is coming through on social media, so I haven't had it sort of verified through official channels, but we're being told then that the final 13 hostages have now been handed over to the Israeli Defence Force.
That is so quick.
It is, isn't it? I mean, this exchange, with the precision with which we've seen it delivered. And of course, now that that has happened, we know that there's 1,966 Palestinian prisoners.
Who are being,
all on buses at Israeli jails, ready to move. 1,700 or more were arrested after the October 7 massacre, been held without charge. Then we see them flow back the other way. And I'm assuming probably as quickly as we've seen this exchange?
Yes, I assume so, which is good because it shows that this first phase is going as people expected, but now comes the hard part. All these other pieces, how do you disarm Hamas? How do you create a more enduring security situation that Israelis feel comfortable with as well? Not just about Israel, but Israel must have assurances of its own security in this very difficult situation. And for the Palestinians, they have to show that they've got the message out of this, which is we want to sit down and have peaceful situation with Israel, and we have to do something about Hamas.
OK, so, you know, we talk about then that there's a lot of hard work that's still to come. When Donald Trump said on the plane flying to Israel today, war is over, is that jumping the gun a little?
He is trying to create the facts on the ground. He's trying to use his office to say, I've got to this point, let's get on with the rest of it.
Yeah, I just realised I didn't turn my phone on silent either there too. I thought it was yours that was beeping. It was mine. My apologies. So they're waiting there now for Donald Trump to make this address to the Israeli Parliament. But he's only on the ground for 3.5 hours.
Absolutely. Wham, bam, thank you, and out. What he wants to do is go to the Knesset and say to the Knesset now, this is what the plan is, this is where we go. And then he goes to Egypt for the meetings with all those other Egyptian leaders and France, UK, Germany, all of whom will play a role in what happens next.
Just talking about those countries that will be there, obviously the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will not be at that summit. Will Australia play any role in that?
No. I mean, it's been clear from the Australian government that we don't want to have troops on the ground. We may play a humanitarian role through whatever we contribute to the UN.
Just going back then, I just want to show again the pictures of Hostages Square today. You did then look through that crowd, and where you had a lot of Trump hats. You also had a lot of American flags in there. How do the Israeli people believe this is Trump and this is Trump alone that has got them to this point? Well,
Israeli society itself is fairly divided, and I think most people credit Trump with the strength to get them through this.
And just as we say that, Donald Trump is now arriving at the Israeli Parliament.
There he is.
Don't know if we've got any sound on this.
Mr. President, Amir Khan, Speaker of the Knesset. Yes. My partner along. Welcome to Jerusalem. Welcome to the Knesset. We've been longing for this day.
It's a great honor.
Thank you. It's our honor and pleasure.
Thank you very much.
You guys know each other.
We know each other.
Good. Yes, please. This way, Mr. President.
All the obligatory pig facts, as you can see.
Well, and as we keep an eye on these pictures, I'm going to bring in Hannah Sinclair. She was there as Donald Trump touched down for us only a few hours ago, just to get her to talk over this. Hannah, it's been an incredibly big day. You've got news there too that it's now confirmed that all of these Israeli hostages are back on Israeli soil.
Good evening, Ali. Well, the remaining 13 hostages still alive have just been transferred to the Red Cross. So they are not in Israel yet. They are on their way to a military base to be handed over to Israeli forces and then reunite with their families. This, of course, comes after 7 hostages earlier were released. They were also put into Red Cross vehicles, taken to the military base, and they are now reuniting with their families. Absolutely beautiful pictures of them FaceTiming them all before getting there and wrapping their arms around them. After more than 2 years, 737 days, these families have been waiting for their loved ones to come home, and this moment is finally here, Ali.
And Hannah, just as you're speaking, we're seeing Donald Trump in his he's got very big handwriting, Arthur. I'm trying to make out what he's written. I know that signature, we've seen that signature a lot. Is your eyesight better than mine? What has he written? He's going to show us.
I can't quite. This is...
A great honour,
yeah.
A great and beautiful day, a new beginning,
yes.
Signed by Donald Trump. Hannah, I'm just here with Arthur Sinodinos. I mean, this has very much been, in many ways, Donald Trump's day, hasn't it?
Well, that's exactly right, and Israelis have welcomed him, warmly welcomed him ahead of his arrival. They rolled out the red carpet on the airport, at the airport behind me here. There's American flags lining the streets in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and there's posters everywhere you look. They absolutely love Donald Trump. They thank him for this peace deal. At the hostages rally the other night, they were chanting, "Thank you, Trump," and he is obviously here to receive that praise in person today, journeying here. He's only going to be here for 3.5 hours, but as you said, we are seeing those live pictures of him at the Knesset right now, writing in that book there. He is going to be meeting with hostage families. He's going to be addressing Israel's parliament, and then he is going to be coming back here to the airport at Tel Aviv and taking off to Egypt.
Hannah, Arthur Sinodinos here. Hi. What do you expect to happen in Egypt? Netanyahu's not going to be there, so what's your view about how that's going to go?
Yeah, there's a lot of world leaders, of course, that are heading there. UK's Prime Minister has already touched down in Egypt. About 20 world leaders on their way to this Middle East Peace Summit that has been put together to discuss the future of Gaza, the future governance. Of course, this all stems from Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan, and what we're seeing at the moment is just phase 1 of that plan. There are 20 phases to go. The second phase involves Hamas disarming, which they haven't yet said they are going to do. So there are still a lot of hurdles ahead for this region. And when you speak to people here on the ground, people are nervous that this ceasefire might not hold. They're excited today.
Yeah.
They're elated these hostages are coming home, but they are nervous that this all could fall apart at any moment.
Yeah.
Hannah, a really big day for you. As I say, we're just watching Netanyahu and Trump making their way through the corridors. You've got Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner there with them, travelling with them. And look, he's been sticking pretty much to time on this timetable. So we expect to hear from him very shortly. Appreciate your input there, Hannah. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you. So just going back again to those pictures of watching Trump make his way through. While we're waiting, because it's one of those things, right, where he might come and he might be speaking in 3 minutes. It might take him 15 minutes or so. We've got Linda Ben-Menash, who is president of the National Council of Jewish Women Australia. She's been on the ground today at Hostages Square in Tel Aviv. I'm just going to see if we've got Linda on the line. Linda, have you got us?
Yes, I have. Thanks very much.
Okay. Linda, I'm just here with Arthur Sinodinos. Just explain the reaction of the crowd today when news came through that the first 7 hostages had been handed over to the Red Cross.
It was just incredible. I mean, this incredible cheer came up from the crowd, and every time we've seen the photo of one of the hostages talking to a parent or talking to a family member, there's been crying, there's been laughing, there's been just elation. And at the same time, there's tremendous sadness about the families who will not be receiving their loved ones back alive.
Can I ask why it was so important for you to be there today for this moment?
Look, like many Australians, I have family living overseas, and I have actually most of my family who live in Israel. I've visited here 4 times since October 7. It's been really important to me to be here, to show solidarity, and also to be in a place where the understanding of what this war has been about, the human story, both the Israeli human story and the human story for Palestinians, is understood properly, as it really doesn't seem to be in certainly in most of the West.
Linda, Arthur Sinadina's here. Congratulations on your efforts on all this. What are your expectations going forward? What do you want to see to be assured that Israel can live within secure borders and the Palestinians have a capacity to live a normal life?
Well, I think that the removal of Hamas from any position of power or influence in Gaza is the number one criterion. And it's up to the international community to ensure that that happens. Basically, Israel's had to do all that work, defeating an army of barbarians, actually, who perpetrated this horrific crime. We are just praying that it is possible to get rid of Hamas and for Palestinians and also Israelis to have some security going forward. We're looking at Hamas out in the streets in the last couple of days, back in their uniforms, shooting people, Gazans, in the street who are protesting against them. It's terrible.
Yeah, and that's what we go to, where we've discussed how much work there is going forward and that this is just very much the very first step. We're standing by to hear Donald Trump address the Israeli parliament, which we're expecting any moment now to take place. But I just wanted to quote you this, Linda. It was from a mother whose son was killed, Rachel Goldberg-Polin, and she said, and I found this so powerful, "There is a time to sob and there is a time to dance, and we have to do both right now." That just sums it up in my mind.
It really does. And as I said, there was crying from sadness, crying from happiness. The emotions are so unbelievably mixed right now. And we're trying to hold all of those things together, and our empathy for all the human beings involved in this terrible conflict.
Yeah, and that is it. I mean, you look at Hostages Square today, and that is a place where people have gathered every day since the October 7 massacre. It has been so sombre, it has been so desperate, and what a change to what we've been seeing today.
Incredible. And it was actually the first time I ever smiled there. I think I've been, over the past 2 years, I've been about 6 or 7 times to the rallies there. And, those rallies are, they're so emotional. And this Saturday night, there were people just crying and screaming the slogan, "Not left, not right," meaning politically. It's all about the hostages. And I stood next to a woman this morning, and her piece of tape, which normally has the number of days hostages have been held, her piece of tape said "last day," and it was just incredible to see that.
Isn't that a moment? Well, Linda, we really appreciate you having a chat to us today. We are standing by for Donald Trump to address the Israeli parliament. And after the break, as that fragile ceasefire holds, we're going to cross the border too, as much needed aid begins to trickle into Gaza.